Hello, our Dynamics community. It is your host, Mariana, here to welcome you to the DAYnamics show, where personal development meets daily life. On this podcast, we know there's no one-size-fits-all path in life, which is why each episode is crafted for you to align with your own dynamic self on your terms. Our journey here is filled with options, opportunities, and infinite possibilities. So let's uncover the reason you are here, because we know you always hear what you need to, and explore what's possible together. So today we're doing a combination again, our fundamentals, and our discussion recording using the application of SpeakPipe. We're on the subject of dynamics for emotion dynamics this month, and we're very excited because we love that energy in motion, and we'd love to discuss our different emotions and offer more resources for people to come in alignment and balance and well-being around them. That's why we do the different dynamics. We will have our guest today, Sophie, and I look forward to introducing her in her journey and her new book. But before we do that, I like to start to set the tone for all of our podcasts, for our time together, as it is more than just a podcast. We are here to remind you that flowing through each one of us is a dynamic energy that is ours to use every single day. That's why the day in dynamics is capitalized. It is a daily choice to live dynamically. So let's take a moment to center ourselves, take a deep breath in and out, be fully present, and listen with an open heart and mind, since we know that what we focus on expands. A part of being dynamic is constantly changing, being open to new ideas, and knowing we're always becoming something. So let's see what we can become with this new information and perspective on emotions. So let's ask you this first to start, audience. Given the title, which I haven't given you yet, but it'll be something to do with emotions, can you relate to your emotions? Have you ever asked yourself or wondered why and how, and even who else may be thinking the same thing about their emotions? You're either so far disconnected from them, or some form of a balance, or maybe really in tune with your emotions. Wherever you are on that emotional scale, then that's perfect for you at the time. And I'm so excited to have our guest Sophie here to just give more clarity from her journey. We usually clarify a definition, but we've done emotion dynamics a few times now. So if you need to refer back to some of our other podcasts or blogs or social media posts, and please do. And there's such a range of emotions. So let's move forward and see what Sophie has to say. So with SpeakPipe, for those that are not familiar with it, I send Sophie a question, she's answering it, so there will be a different change of variation in voice sounds, and that's okay, because again, we'll always hear what we need to hear, and we look forward to a fascinating conversation today. Our first question to Sophie was, first, we're so excited to welcome you because we have been emailing back and forth for a little bit, so we finally got the opportunity to set this up. Sophie is a new author, of her book, Beyond Emotions, Stop Letting Emotions Control You and Start Living with Love. Great title. Great read as well. You're also an emotional balance coach, among so much more. Again, we thank you for being here. Please introduce yourself with a bit of your journey, and then let our audience know what an emotional balance coach is and how it can help them. Welcome.
Hi, Mariana. I'm very happy to be with you today on DAYnamics show. My journey started 30 years ago when I moved from France to Germany. And it was a blessing as I met my first yoga teacher. I discovered more about my mind and its functioning. And it helped me every time I had a situation that was challenging in my life to go back to the practice, to the meditation, and find inner peace. From Germany, we moved to United States. My children were still very young, 1 year old and 5 years old. And I was more and more learning about yoga as I wanted to become a yoga teacher. Along the way, I learned about the sister science of yoga, which is Ayurveda. Very simply explained, yoga is a methodology to become a better person. And Ayurveda is a nature-based system to understand what we are made of and how we can improve our health and longevity through diet and lifestyle. So they both are complementary because with Ayurveda, you can improve your health and longevity, connect to Mother Earth. And yoga gives you the tools of self-reflection to reconnect with yourself, with other, and with something bigger than us. In United States, I moved from one state to another and always came back to the practice of yoga and Ayurveda. Along the way, also, I learned about mindfulness and I become a life coach because I wanted to have all the tools to help people around me. What does emotional balance coach do? I created a methodology on my own, what I call the emotion process, where I help my client to understand the emotion, that emotion is an energy like any other energies that are around us and circulating in us. And as the energy is moving, it's completing a cycle. So when the emotion arrives and we feel the emotion, so we can understand where is it coming from, what it means, and what is the message I can learn and grow from it. The methodology I'm using is movement, breathwork, self-inquiry, and powerful question that I ask to my client.
Thank you, Sophie. That's a very meaningful journey that you've gone through. And I've had the ability to read your book as well. So I would suggest anyone read her book. And thank you for introducing yourself, sharing a bit of the journey, sharing with us a bit of the emotional balance coach, because I think that the balance part is the key part of that. So thank you for doing that and sharing your gift with everyone. Next, we asked Sophie, now on to your book. Again, congratulations. Beyond Emotions. And we will share the link below in the show notes as to how to purchase it and how to reach Sophie, like all her contact information. Is it a reflection of everything your journey thus far has taught you? And how are you feeling about it now that it is being shared and that your story is out there?
Thank you. Now that the book is written, I realize that this time I put apart to write the book was helping me to put on paper the methodologies that I had developed over the years to understand the emotion. Emotions are not a burden. They are not a punishment. They are experiences that we have in life, giving us signals or messages for us to grow. Emotion, they are part of our life. We don't have to avoid them. We don't have to suppress them. And the book, for me, is an achievement in a way that, oh yes, now I can share with the world everything I learned. And in this writing, I hope that reader can go through the process of their emotion quicker than me, so there will be less suffering and they can gain emotional freedom quicker than I did.
Thank you, Sophie. I love how we share our resources to help others from what we've already gone through to help, like you said, get them through it faster. And I love that you said that the emotions are like a messages to help us grow, and they're just part of life. So it's like about having a relationship with them along the way. Thank you so much. Now let's go on to our next question. I really adored the question you asked yourself of who are you now after some of your journey and with your kids growing up. Do you ask yourself that question even today? And how do you think the questions we ask ourselves shape our emotions and how we move through this world?
Yes, I still ask myself this question, who I am. Now, this question, as you mentioned, who I am, might trigger emotions. I would say that it triggers emotion because there is the expectation we have in life, and we are judging ourselves and we are comparing ourselves. So if you remove from the equation expectation, judgment, and comparison, then you become curious. And when we ask ourselves who I am, it's important to go beyond the role we have in life. So being a mom, being a spouse, being a nurse, or any other profession, they are roles that we have in life. They are not who we are. What we are is beneath all those roles, what motivates us every single day to go up and embrace the day. And those qualities, they are our skills, they are our values. So, for example, if you ask myself who I am, I could define everything with what I'm doing in life. They are all the expression of who I am. At the center of my being is love, compassion for myself, for others. I use this quality I have in me with my value to make the world a better place. For me, it's through life coaching and teaching, but it could be anything. Now, right, defining ourselves, remove from the equation judgment and expectation, and then from there, be curious. And then you are removing the emotions that can be holding you back and discover who really you are and what you want to do with your life.
That's a great explanation. Yes, any question can trigger some emotion. And I love how you said just to put all that other stuff behind it and then just become more curious, about who you are and what motivates you, and who are we in the center of our being. And sometimes, like we say too, on the resources that we share, is sometimes we have to redefine who we are from who we thought we were. So it goes right in alignment with what you're sharing. So thank you very much for that. So on to our next question. Let's discuss the concept of emotions controlling us daily. Give us a personal example of how that might have happened or is happening with you. And I will start. And I'm actually going to use this morning as an example. Last night, for some reason, we have small pups in the house, and so they had us up late. So then, I couldn't sleep, so I thought, I'll just go up and do some work. And then I ended up deleting a bunch of emails from my phone, that because I have an iPhone connected to all the other Mac products that I have. And so I had to spend the whole morning going and recovering each email that I have. And so the emotion that came up in me was frustration, fear, anxiety of let's get this done. Let's make sure I can get the emails back. It's very interesting how something can trigger the emotion, and I had to be very conscious in the middle of it and just say, okay, I got this. I'm feeling what I feel. It's all okay. Take my time. Let's go through this and do what we can and breathe through it. That's a big thing. How about for you?
I will start an example with anger. You wake up in the morning, you didn't hear the alarm clock. And you know that you have to be late for work. You will not have time to have your breakfast, and you have a meeting. So what is happening is that on the surface, you feel anger, and then you have to release this strong emotion because it's a burden on the physical level. So if you have the opportunity to snap at someone, you will snap at someone. You will express this anger, not in a constructive way, but in a way for you to be able to manage the emotion. What is happening in the unconscious part of the mind is that the anger is hiding a fear. Whatever the fear is, might be the fear to not perform well at the meeting. It might be the fear of not pleasing your boss. It might be anything. As long as we didn't have the opportunity just to go through the process and understand the fear and then take action to remove the fear, then the anger will always be here because it will be a mechanism of on the conscious level to manage the life.
Yes, another great example. And I love how you brought up the physicalness of it, because that's what I felt too. Like my face got red. I had racing thoughts. Like it actually affected my body. So yes, it's being able to stop sort of in the middle of it and reassess and readjust. So thank you for that example. Actually, how are you doing, audience? How is everyone doing? This is quite interesting, isn't it? Just full of education and awareness around emotions and different ways that we can address it. So thanks for being here to listen. And thank you again, Sophie, for being part of this Emotion Dynamics podcast. The next question. You describe emotions as messengers rather than obstacles. If an emotion, and you can pick one for you, knocked on your door tomorrow with an urgent message, how would you receive that message and what conversation would you have with it?
Emotions are always knocking at my door every day. Every day I have emotion. Now, when an emotion is overwhelming, let's take, for example, fear. Fear for my children's health, or fear any kind of fear. If I have time, I'm going to process it right away. If I don't have time, I make a mental note that for now, it's okay. I will think about it later. And I'm very good at that now. And instead of creating worry and sadness or anger or fear, whatever it might be, then I'm very good at make a mental note. And in the evening or in the next morning, I'm going to journal it. I'm going to meditate on it. I'm going to talk about it. And that are my tools. So lately I was afraid for the health of my children. And so I was not feeling well. And I was, okay, what's going on? There is a thing in life that you can control and things you cannot control. And definitely I cannot control the health of someone else. If I could, that would be wonderful, but it's not the case. So I was really understanding this concept. I was just thinking about it, when I was going for a walk, I was really questioning it with curiosity. What's going on? You are afraid? What are you afraid of? I am afraid that my children are not going to love me anymore. I am afraid that maybe they're going to judge me. I am afraid that I was a failure as a mother. And so all those questions, they were running in my head, but I was thinking that it was not enough. So I had the opportunity the next day to talk with a friend, and I explained the situation. At that moment, I was feeling my body was wanting to express something. And she said to me, Sophie, it's okay if you want to cry. And I said, and she just said that, and I was crying. And everything came out that actually was the awkward moment, the unpleasantness I was feeling in my body, it was not about my child health, which of course is concerning me. I'm not in control of his health again. So I was afraid that he would not love me because I was giving him advice. And he told me not to give him advice. I have to respect that as well. It doesn't make me a bad mother. It doesn't make me less of his mother. It's not going to make that he doesn't love me. It just wants to manage his life and his health with his own terms. For me, that was the thing. It was, okay, processing it alone, and at some point talk with someone who is not part of the situation, someone who can be more outside and see the big picture, to ask me, allow me to express myself. And after this conversation, I was feeling so great. It was done. Yeah, I think that when an emotion knocks at the door and they have a message to understand, what did I understand with this story is that, yes, my son doesn't want my advice, doesn't mean that he doesn't love me. What a great insight for me, that I know I don't need to be on the top of everything to be loved. So yes, observe, question, and question in a way, for me, it was talking with someone, but it can be anything from journaling, meditating, talking with your therapist, talking with a coach, talking with a friend, anything that helps you to go to the bottom of the emotion and understand the message.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for that example of messenger of emotions coming to you and sharing that example with your son. And I think we've all been through that, any parent or guardian, whether it's with family or friends or co-workers, whatever it might be, that we can't control someone else, but we can control ourselves. Observe, question, because it's always energy and motion. And I love when you shared about just letting that emotion go, crying it, and just having the cycle of that go through for you. So Awesome. Congratulations. And thanks for being so vulnerable about sharing your personal stuff with us. We appreciate you. On to the next question. If someone was to come to you to say, like, I understand your concepts intellectually, but I still feel emotionally stunted daily, what would you invite them to explore first? Not necessarily as a technique, but just as a way of being with themselves.
I would first say to this person, give yourself grace. There is a saying that Rome was not built in one day. That's the same concept and idea with emotion. We build resilience, not necessarily in one day. If we can, that's great. If it doesn't come right away, it's okay. Give always your best in being present with yourself, with your emotion, and not blaming yourself. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. So give yourself grace. Take a moment and focus on the present moment. Just be in the present. Right now I am very angry at this person because blah, blah, blah. It's okay. I am angry. Own it. It's okay.
I really appreciate that answer, that discussion that we're having around emotions, especially about living in the now moment and just having grace with yourself through all of this and being present with your emotions, especially when you know you're having it, because you know what it feels like to have emotion, but the fact that you can name it and then be present with it and give yourself grace with it is really great feedback for everyone and a great reminder. Thank you so much for that. So we have a couple more questions. And the next one, I really was excited to ask because you work extensively with self-inquiry as a tool for transformation. Can you share the most challenging question you've ever had to ask yourself? Other than, obviously, who are you? And how the answer changed not just your thinking, but your entire way of moving through this world, moving through your life.
The most challenging question I asked myself was, am I worth of other people's love? It really was a huge question for me because it led me to self-inquiry and understanding what are my qualities and my value and how I was showing up in the world and what was giving my meaning in my life. Doing this work helped me also to understand that I don't have to be a pleaser to be myself. I don't have to be a pleaser for people to love me. I understood the difference between conditional love, I love you if you love me, and unconditional love, I love you. It changed my entire life because I started to be authentic to myself, to dress the way I wanted to dress, to be mindful, but at the same time respectful of my own value and my own boundaries, and be able to say no to other people. So it really completely transformed my life when I was diving into this question. Am I worth of being loved?
Wow, that is probably a question a lot of people dive into. And I'm sure that it probably triggers a lot of emotions in people as well. And I love how you turned it into the love part and then just being more of your authentic self. It's interesting how you and I, as far as our resources, speak a lot of the same language, which is obviously why we're coming together and doing a podcast together as well. So thank you for being you and sharing your gifts with all of us. Again, the information to reach Sophie, your website, and all her resources will be down in the show notes. Now, our last question to Sophie for today is, what's next for you? Workshops, workbooks, masterclass, another book maybe? And please share how our DAYnamics community listeners can reach you.
The next step for me is to keep sharing with the world this work of understanding our emotions. Now that the book is published, which is a self-help book, I also created a 6-week program that is called The Emotion Process. In this program, I teach and guide participants to understand their emotion, where they're coming from, how to manage them, understand the message so they can build resilience and be friends and develop a new relationship with their emotions. You can find me on my website, ayuryogawithsophie.com. You can also find me on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, with my full name, Sophie Malahieude. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Sophie, for being on our podcast today around emotions, sharing your resources, and just her course that she's going to have, and anything else that she's doing will all be presented on her website. We can't thank you enough for you taking the time to be with us, because I think it's just important to find the people that really resonate and are new authors and want to share these gifts with others. And you are part of that for us. So thank you for that. We look forward to following your journey along the way, and we appreciate you being here again. So, DAYnamics community, take a moment now to reflect on the show around living a dynamic life every day around the subject of emotions. What resources will you use from this podcast? How will you make this information uniquely yours? And what will you become from this? Because we remember all becoming something. So what now? We challenge you to take action, share this episode with someone who may need it, or explore our past resources and recordings to keep the discussion alive. Your dynamic journey does not stop here. There's so much more waiting for you. We invite you to follow, subscribe, share, support, and shift your life. Dive into all our resources, DAYnamicsshow.info, DAYnamicSeries.com, again in the show notes. Keep in mind, all materials are shared on this show are copyrighted and meant for informational purposes only. So until next time, thank you for tuning into the DAYnamics show. Thank you again, Sophie, very much for being part of this. Align with your dynamic well-being every day. Have a blessed day, but also make it a dynamic day. Bye for now.